Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all Dharma Masters, and all good knowing advisors, Amitofo. My name is Jin He, and thank you, Reverend Heng Shou, for the introduction. I'm really happy that we are reading the Sixth Patriarch Sutra this year at Buddha Road Farm, because that's one of the texts that we've been reading in the DRBU Masters program. And it's a really good text to read when you're in a group, because what we do at DRBU in the MA program is that we sit almost like at a table like this. It's a larger table, but we sit in a circle, and everyone shares their opinion of the text. And through that, not only do you see if your understanding or perspective of the text is right, but you get to hear other people's wisdom as seen through the text. So I thought I would like to share with you the reflections that I've gotten from the DRBU MA program on the Sixth Patriarch Sutra. And one of them is what we just read today about the Sixth Patriarch, before he became the Sixth Patriarch, not being recognized. When he came to the monastery, there are several clues, like they describe him from the south, illiterate, poor. So coming from a different place meant you probably look different, you sound different. And poor meaning, there's a general tendency for people to look down. So this trend runs throughout many of the Buddhist stories. In the Shurangama Sutra, we have the courtesan, the lady of the night that fell in love with Ananda, Venerable Ananda. And I was thinking, if I was there in the assembly and I knew what was going on, and Manjushri Bodhisattva bringing back Ananda, Venerable Ananda, and the courtesan, I would probably be going, that lady, she's no good. Just, by her profession alone and the fact that she tried to corrupt Venerable Ananda. And then there's Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma, who was the first patriarch of China, when he went to China, the person who he met, who would be his first disciple, did not recognize Bodhidharma for who he was, and had a string of beads. He felt insulted by Bodhidharma, who was trying to teach him, and he took a set of beads that were made of iron, and he slapped Bodhidharma across the face so violently that two of Bodhidharma's teeth broke. So that's Bodhidharma. And then we have Angulimala during the Buddha's time, who was a mass murderer. And he would strike fear into everyone, even the kings. And so it started me thinking about how, for example, myself, how would I recognize wisdom when it's right in front of me? What, and I can't even quite imagine through what I understand, how would I know something that's beyond my ability to grasp? He wants to speak Dharma, yeah. Should I stop speaking? Is that?
I think they only go where things are sweet, so that must be.
So how would I recognize wisdom if history shows us that we tend not to? And for me, then, I think it's linked to the Buddha nature that we all know. Everyone who's read sutras, or if you're familiar with Buddhism, we all have the Buddha nature, right? All of us have the potential to become Buddhas. And I never understood that. I mean, I understood the words, but to me, that was kind of like theory, like telling me the moon travels this fast in space. I know that, that's a fact. But do I actually know that? Meaning, is it like in Buddhism, I ask myself, is it transformative? Knowing that I have the Buddha nature, that other people have the Buddha nature, how does that help me be a better person? Because that's the lens that I try to view the sutras through. How is this helpful to me in my everyday life? Knowing that, yes, the person next to me has the Buddha nature. What does that mean, really? Because, we've already covered how we see people. We see people through the form. In the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, the bowl and the sash. That's the form. People mistake that for wisdom. So when we see someone for their physical attributes, the way they sound, the things that they say. And we judge them by that. We don't see them for their potential. We never see anyone for their potential. We just see them and that's who you are, that's who you are. And then you get treated accordingly. The reverse side of that is sometimes the way we see ourselves. I'm not young enough, or I'm too old, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough money, what else? What are the walls that we create among ourselves? I'm not popular enough, I don't have the right skills, I can't speak. Right? We create all these barriers. But we have all these examples. The Sixth Patriarch, Angulimala, and there's so many of them. The sweep clean guy, everyone knows the story, sweep clean. He was told not to be a monk, but the Buddha saw his potential, and he became an arhat, ahead of everyone else. And he couldn't remember more than 3 words. He couldn't remember 2. But if someone like that came to the monastery, how would I see a person like that? I would just dismiss them based on my idea of what wisdom represents. So there's 2 sides, right? One is how we see people around us and treat them, and the other one is how we see ourselves. And we all know how we see ourselves, right? The stories we tell ourselves about who we are, stories that limit us. So I've been thinking about what does it mean to know that someone has the Buddha nature? And this is just my personal interpretation. I think it means that you have to believe in someone 100%, that they have the potential to change. You believe that they will be someone, because you already know, the sutras tell you, in the Lotus Sutra, everyone is going to be a Buddha. So they have that potential. So as for me, I've been thinking, how do I translate that into, say, like Jin Chuan Shi, you, all of you here? How do I see someone as having the potential to change, and how do I translate that into a behavior that kind of matches as close as I can? For example, one clue that I get is Gwan Yin Bodhisattva. If you are familiar with the Pullman Pin or the Universal Door chapter, which we recite at CDTB and at Berkeley Monastery, what Gwan Yin does is she comes and helps you. Whenever you have any problem and you recite Gwan Yin's name, her vow is that she will come and help you. Gwan Yin doesn't say that you have to be a Buddhist. She doesn't say you have to believe in the Buddha. She doesn't say you have to follow the 5 precepts. She doesn't even say you have to believe in her, although knowing her name helps. But Shufu, I believe Shufu did say once, he said, if you really have to call the Bodhisattva's name for the Bodhisattva to help you, that's not a real Bodhisattva. But it helps. And I won't go into that because I can't explain. But Gwan Yin will help you irrespective of what you believe, because she will come in the form that you have the closest affinity with. She'll come in the form of a layperson if you have the closest affinity with a layperson, in the form of a young child if that's what you need. She'll come in the form of the God that you pray to. Gwan Yin doesn't have an ego. She doesn't need to be recognized as Gwan Yin. All she wants is to help you. And then I also read a book that was written by a Dr. Gabo Mate. He is a Canadian doctor, and he treats drug addicts in a certain part of Canada that's also known as, it's Canada's version of Skid Row. And throughout his many years of experience, this is a book called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts. Throughout his many years of experience, he figured out, he said, if you really want to help someone and you want them to change, he says, you cannot, in your helping them, you cannot want them to change. You just have to be there for them 100%. You just have to believe in them. Maybe they'll change, maybe they'll not. But the moment you have a motive, the moment you have okay, I can do this for you, but can you do this for me? An exchange. Or the moment, like, you know how we usually help people, especially our family members? Couldn't you be more like, or can you be a bit more this? Or why can't you? And I thought about that, and you're just sending a message to the person that you're not good enough. Right? If you tell someone, if only you were, or if only you could do, it means you're not good enough right now. And people feel that. It's like, okay, people feel you may be sincere there, but it comes across differently. And what happens is then you are not an agent of that change. If the person changes, it's not because of you, it's because of something else. So I guess, I hope you're all aspiring bodhisattvas, because we make the 3 vows, like I vow to save all living beings, I vow to do only good, I vow to cut off all evil deeds. I guess then the real practice comes in whenever we encounter someone, or whenever we have a thought that focuses outward to the person that you are thinking of or dealing with, or when it comes to a thought that focuses inward on yourself. Where does that thought go? Is it based on a limitation that we impose on ourselves, or a judgment that we have on others? Or is it based on something like, how can I support this person? Or how can I best support my own practice that's wholesome? So I guess at the very least, it would be not making people around you afflicted. Imagine the Sixth Patriarch, okay? Imagine that we could all go back in time, and there he is gathering firewood and taking all that firewood to the inn, and he's just about to hear the verse of the sutra. Would you upset him at that point? Would you do anything to disrupt, to make his mind move? Or would you try your best not to even be in his line of sight so you don't disturb his mind? Because he's going to get an awakening, right? But that time But if you didn't know and you just saw him walking with a pile of firewood, would you even give him the time of the day? So I guess to me, practice is really taking all the theories of the Dharma, taking all the theories that's all there in the sutras, and bringing it in somewhere here and here, like together. That deliberation, that thinking over, that figuring out, like, how does this work? How does this help me? And then going back into your own experiences through life of how you deal with situations or people. What makes you happy? What makes you sad? And then finding something that really makes sense. And then for you, then that would be the Dharma. That is the Dharma coming alive. So this is something that I struggle with every day. How am I going to recognize wisdom? Or at the very least, how do I not afflict the people around me and delay their path? Because I do want to be an agent of change for them. I do want to support people on their path. But then I run into my own mind, and then it's easier said than done. Everyone's like, really serious? Okay. Okay, that's all I have to share. If you have any reflections, yeah, you can bring it up or come and talk to me. Or, okay, thank you for listening.